Then he said,
What? But he's Greek Orthodox?
yeah, a lot of Palestinians are Christians, and most of them are Greek Orthodox. Some are Catholic.
Right.
Yeah. So he later said, I didn't do it. And then still later, he said, I may have done it. I just don't remember. And then later yet, he said, I suppose I could have done it, but I don't have any memory of it.
Why?
Well, because there are more clear-cut questions that have never been answered in those killings. RFK to me is the most interesting. And I don't mean to sound like a, tin foil hat person. I'm not.
I see no
you know
tin
me.
on your head.
Yeah,
I know
you know
well.
me. I'm a straight shooter. But Sirhan was convicted of killing Bobby Kennedy in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles.
He did have a great name. I have to give him that.
Sirhan.
Yeah, it's a good name.
I'm ashamed that he's Greek Orthodox.
Yeah. It's a great name.
It's long been a source of pain for many of us in the Greek Orthodox community.
I know.
So he had a revolver that held 7 rounds, and 8 bullets were recovered. And in addition to that, a forensic investigation, an auditory investigation conducted in 1993, found that there were between 10 and 13 shots that were fired. Thomas Noguchi, who was the coroner, the Los Angeles County coroner at the time, and famous nationally, determined that the kill shot came at the back of the head, at the top of the neck, from a distance of 1 to 3 inches. But Sirhan was in front of Kennedy. So how did the kill shot come from behind?
Magic bullet.
Magic bullet, just like JFK.
Yeah.
At the same time, there was a security guard by the name of Cesar, who was a white supremacist.
His name was Cesar?
I know,
and
right?
He was a white supremacist.
Pretty doggone ironic.
Confusing.
Yeah. So he hated Bobby Kennedy. And he told a reporter afterwards that the reason he hated Kennedy was that if elected, that Kennedy was going to bring all of the commies and the colors into government like his brother did. Sorry.
No, you're good. We got to mark that.
There was a video that the National Geographic Channel found in the 90s where you see Cesar in the very back of the kitchen, and he reaches into his waistband and he pulls out a gun, and then you hear bang, 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 and he puts the gun back in his belt. So the reporter asked him, did you shoot Bobby Kennedy? And he said, no, I was going to, but that Arab fella hit him first. Mm-hmm. So
that one too. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah, you're good. Sorry, I got to do that.
Yeah,
YouTube.
no, it's YouTube.
It's brutal.
So, how many shooters were there? That's one question. Mm-hmm. How many shooters were there, and who were they? So, he ended up being polygraphed by the FBI, and he passed the polygraph. He did not shoot Kennedy. He wanted to, he intended to, but he didn't.
Which isn't a crime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. That was number one. Number two was Sirhan has been utterly inconsistent about that night. When first arrested, he said he did it. He was proud that he did it, and that he did it with 20 years of malice aforethought, his words, because of Kennedy's support for Israel. And he's Palestinian. Then he said...
But he's Greek Orthodox?
Yeah, a lot of Palestinians are Christians, and most of them are Greek Orthodox. Some are Catholic.
Right.
Yeah. So he later said, I didn't do it. And then still later, he said, I may have done it, I just don't remember. And then later yet, he said, I suppose I could have done it, but I don't have any memory of it. Well, we also learned 20 years after the fact that he may have participated when he was in college in a medical experiment that turned out to be a component of MK Ultra. And so we don't really know the answers to these questions. I'm hopeful that there will be some answers. Now, the FBI said 2 weeks ago, oh my goodness, We just found another 1,800 pages of documents related to the RFK assassination that we didn't know existed. They were in this guy's desk since 1968. Seriously. Can you imagine working in a place like that? The CIA at least will admit, well, we destroyed all the documents.
The old school way.
Yeah, the old school way.
That's what we did in the old days.
Yeah, like when they told Gina Haspel, don't destroy the torture tapes.
I'm going to do it.
And she goes back and puts them in a grinder. Yeah.
So maybe we get more on RFK.
I hope so.
And then what about MLK? Because that's FBI.
That's
related.
FBI. And
I know they're your favorite agency.
yeah, and RFK's FBI as well, for the most part, except for
really?
MK Ultra. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard MK Ultra. I'm not thinking FBI when you say that.
FBI vis-a-vis 2 or more shooters.
Okay.
MLK is fascinating to me. I always believed that James Earl Ray killed Martin Luther King. And then I decided if I'm going to have an opinion, it needs to be an educated opinion. So I'm going to read everything I can get my hands on about Martin Luther King's killing. And I think that if James Earl Ray killed him, he was, to use Lee Harvey Oswald's word, he was a patsy.
Yeah.
Because look at it this way. Here's a guy who was drunk all the time. All the time. He just had a well-documented, lifelong drinking problem. And he decided he's going to kill Martin Luther King. And so he goes to a boarding house that is a full block away from the hotel where Martin Luther King was, the Lorraine Motel, where Martin Luther King was staying. This boarding house was a run-down flea bag place. The rooms didn't have bathrooms. There was one bathroom at the end of the hall. And the bathroom at the end of the hall had a window in the shower, one of these long, narrow windows that had a view of the Lorraine. So we're supposed to believe that this drunk guy with a 40-year-old rifle sat in a public bathroom all day long. Nobody ever noticed him. And then he hits the perfect shot from a block away. Come on. Seriously? Now couple that with what we know for 100% fact, that the FBI tried to get Martin Luther King to commit suicide 2 years earlier. They sent him a letter, an anonymous letter that purported to be from an anti-King African-American man saying, you're a disgrace to the black people. You should do the only honorable thing, you know. And by all accounts, he laughed and he was like,
Yeah,
J. Edgar Hoover.
that was never going to work.
Yeah, like, come on. We know that
We have people who say that about us.
I know, right? You know how many death threats I've gotten?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But they said, we're going to tell your wife that you cheat on her. It's like, my
Go
wife
ahead.
knows I cheat on her.
Common knowledge, my friend.
Yeah. So he just dismissed it. But the hatred of King at the FBI was enough in the 60s that make people think perhaps they did it. Perhaps they set him up. Perhaps they worked with James Earl Ray. We don't know. And we don't really have any idea what these documents might be and why they've been classified. If this is a criminal act, nothing should be classified.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't have, an elected office. He didn't have a security clearance. He didn't have access to classified information. He's just, he's a preacher and a civil rights leader. So why would that case be classified in the first place? So I'm kind of excited about what that release is going to be.
And you think we could really get something there?
I think there's a chance that some of these big questions might get answered.
And you don't think James Earl Ray could have floated around in a bathroom for a lot of hours? You did believe, like an hour ago, that maybe someone had fished the shit of Abraham Lincoln out of a toilet after he got shot. So,
It was wishful thinking. I admit it. It was wishful thinking. I remember I was a little kid and James Earl Ray escaped from prison. And I remember watching the news with my folks and being shocked at the people being interviewed who were saying, well, I hope he comes to my house because I'll hide him. I'll hide him. He's a hero.
Oh my God.
And my parents just being like appalled that people in America.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's
I think I must have been like 8 or 9 years old.
still.
Yeah.
Like you would think at that point people would
Mm-hmm.
move on with life.
Yeah, move on.
But
Seriously.
that's crazy.
I'm glad you said I'm glad you used the word optics because it's important in this case. A friend of mine posted on Facebook the other day